everybody. Very good morning and welcome to today's edition of Good Day Grenada. It is the 19th day of October 2018. I'm George Grant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Spread the word around that we are on the air. And we do have an interesting program lined up for you this morning, so let's get right into it. We're going to start this morning with word from the Royal Grenada Police Force, man. The cops are on the marijuana trail, or at least they were again yesterday. They confiscated some cannabis. A joint operation by officers attached to the Special Services Unit and the Rapid Response Unit yesterday at a place called Spring Garden in Birch Grove. They uprooted 350 cannabis trees, ranging from 5 to 7 feet in height, and the seizure of approximately 1,000 cannabis seedings. No one was arrested, and the police investigations are continuing. Now, I think I have, just in case you don't believe me, I think I have a picture here, still photograph of that loot yesterday. Let me share that with you. Take a look at that. That's some of the stuff that was toted away yesterday morning by the RGPF. Hey, there you have it. So, be advised, cops are on the lookout. They're cracking down on drugs in this country. And let's see where we go. So, that's it. Now, I also want to give you a heads up that the CCJ Amendment Bill is now posted on the Grenada Broadcast, the new GrenadaBroadcast.com website. It was up there on the old one, and I'm advising you to go take a look. Yeah. Much of it is your usual legal jargon, but the document is, it's only about 17 pages in length, okay? So you might want to check that out. As you may recall, the bill was passed in Parliament on September 7th of this year by the House of Representatives, and a week later, on September 14th, it was passed by the Senate. It's written in 17 parts. The reason why I put that up again yesterday is because I know that a number of you have been asking, well, you know, where can I read this stuff? Of course, you can go to the CCJ website, but they sent a copy, so I put it up there again. Go take a look at it, if you will. Now, coming your way, heads up time, coming your way on Sunday with the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. Here's some of what you're in for. As always, you'll have the editorials from the Grenada Advocate. And this week, their editorial is captioned, "We must protect ourselves." There's also an editorial from the Grenadian Voice, "Keeping all our children safe." Now, who wouldn't want to do that? And the third editorial comes from the New Today, and they are captioned, "Supporting a torturer." Huh? Interesting editorial. Check it out on Sunday morning. That gets underway at 9 o'clock and runs until 12 noon. Who knows? If needs be, we'll go a little longer. Then, as far as interviews are concerned on Sunday, many of you may recall a play done by Francis Urias Peters a couple of years ago. Miss Faithlin. Well, she is back. Yeah. Miss Faithlin takes to the stage again very shortly. And I'm not going to give you all the details right now, but Francis Urias Peters will be in here in person on Sunday and fill you in on all the details about that. Francis is a very well-known playwright here in Grenada. One of those who are struggling, you know, we have some pretty darn good playwrights here, but a lot of these guys struggle. They struggle, but they keep on going, and I have a great admiration for them for doing that. In Grenada, everything's a struggle. Well, I'm sure it happens in other countries too, but it's personal right here in Grenada. And I'm so pleased to see that there are some very determined people here that even though they may not get the numbers they're hoping to get, they still keep on trucking and coming up with some really good plays. In addition to that interview, we will also be joined by a gentleman who's been with us several times before. He's a past president of the Rotary Club of Grenada. They're celebrating a big anniversary, and Terrence Smith is going to come in here to tell us about that, as well as information about the upcoming Carols by Candlelight. That has become a big feature over the past 10 years or so. They too keep on trucking. The Rotary does a phenomenal amount of work here in Grenada, and I hope you don't miss Carols by Candlelight this year. Now, we also gonna have as one of our features, we have two features on Sunday, and one of them has to do with Camahan Park. I don't know whether or not you saw the program a couple of days ago, but Camahan Park seems to be in trouble. Yes, sirree. They are in trouble. They have been told by the government that they're not prepared to work with them. Sad news. Sad news. You're going to see on Sunday a mini press conference, which was held a couple of days ago down at the park, where Jude Bernard, who is the chairman of the Save Camahan Park Committee, and the vice chairman, George Mason, they explained, they actually read a letter from the government, Ministry of Tourism, I think it was, which explained everything. And I don't want you to miss that. And as you watch it on Sunday, think of some ways in which you can help to preserve that park, okay? Not only Jude and George and the people in that committee would appreciate it, but I think all the people who take advantage of that little piece of land down there on Grand Anse, they too would appreciate it. It means a lot to them. It's like an oasis, an escape, if you will, okay? So join us on Sunday for that. Our second feature has to do, again, with the CCJ, but from the NDC's perspective. The NDC is willing to throw its support behind the CCJ, Grenada's accession to the appellate court, but under certain conditions. In other words, there are caveats. There are things that they're not comfortable about. And I have coming in here the acting political leader of the NDC, Mr. Joseph Andel. He's going to be coming in here to give their perspective. So those are the two features that are going to be included on Sunday's program. And we hope that you'll be able to join us for that. Right now, it's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. The program is live at the present time. And we're going to take a little break here, and we'll come on back with the National Report.
We have a date of history.
The issue for the 6th of November is to vote on a bill.
Could you enlighten the audience as to your motives for moving away from the JCPC?
It is necessary to give citizens of Grenada the right to appeal the outcome of general elections to the High Court, the Court of Appeals, and to the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Do we give funds to the Privy Council?
In Dominica, do you swear allegiance to the Queen?
The advisory committee really needs to take its role serious.
Whatever we have to give to our political opponents, we will give.
Vote yes, vote no. It's referenda on the CCJ in Grenada and Antigua. Join the discussion on Sunday, October 28th on Time to Face the Facts with host Jerry George, live at 8 p.m. on Caribevision and the Time to Face the Facts show Facebook page.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Pure Grenada, the Isle of Spice, is more than a slogan. Grenada boasts some of the world's best spices like nutmeg, mace, clove, ginger, turmeric, and true cinnamon. These clean and naturally safe pesticide-free spices that were once available only in local markets are now one mouse click away at GrenadaMarket.com. Our spices are responsibly harvested in small batches to preserve freshness, unlike some bulk spices that sit around in silos all year round. Log on to www.GrenadaMarket.com and shop for Grenada's best spices. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
What we have seen with the quality of the debate, the intellect, the effort that has gone into this is a credit, first of all, to the debaters themselves. But it's also a credit to the teachers, to our schools, to our parents who would have worked with those students to get them to where they are today. Us who sit in Parliament should be inspired by what we have seen today, and I think we can learn something from what has been presented here today.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Alrighty, folks, let's see here, 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. I'll tell you what. Next week is Thanksgiving, okay? And what I'd like to do this morning is get off the beaten path for just a minute. And I want to share with you a video that was sent to me a couple of days ago. And this has to do with the revolution. A number of persons, this video has been around for some time, but for those of you who may not have seen it, I want to share this with you this morning. People are still hurting, believe it or not, after the revolution which took place 17 years ago. I'm always cautious when it comes to speaking about the revolution because although I have heard an awful lot about it, both good and bad, I was not here. And I'm not one of those people who becomes an expert, you know, just because they hear this here and they hear that there, and really don't know the facts. But the voices you're about to hear are the voices of people who have lived through the revolution. And the piece I'm about to play you is about 18 minutes long. And it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning's program. 18 minutes long, and it's going to take us to the end of this morning I have captioned it Reliving the Revolution. Actually, it's more like reliving. Let's not go there. I'll tell you what. Take a look.
Having conversation, making the coffee and so on. Then I remembered some students came into the room. They were real jubilant and they were hugging him and they were kissing him. One student was from St. Joseph's Convent, St. Andrews. And then I remembered other people coming in with baskets of stuff. It was turning into be almost like a picnic.
Corneline called me, myself, Rima Nelson, and Conrad Mills got orders to go and retake the fort and to use, whatever force is necessary.
And then I remembered the wife of Minister Norris Bain and some other people from St. Andrews came. And there were some of the guys from the military department in the room, but they were going in and out. I can't remember everybody, but I remember Mr. Prime and a couple other people being in the room with us.
Lieutenant Parks, myself, Lieutenant Cherubin, Lieutenant Hippolyte, Captain Stroud, and Captain Reliving. We were all in our room, and Lieutenant Prime. Morris for me had a number of statements that these guys up there want to kill people, they want to kill people. A lot of chaos.
And my mission was to take the top square. Mayor's mission was to take the bottom part of the square because that was his unit basically. And Reba Nelson's mission was to secure the bottom road and so on to make sure nobody leave with weapons and documents and things like that.
And I remember sitting there making the cup of coffee, and Jacqueline Kraft came and she sat next to me. But she was terrified, she was shaking, and I said, "What's wrong with you now?" And she said to me, "And I'm so scared something terrible is going to happen." And I said, "The worst is over. We got you all out of there, the worst is over." And she said, "No, I'm not comfortable in here, I'm not comfortable in here."
3 armored personnel carriers and their mission was to go and retake the fort, restore order, and chase the people off the compound.
So when we left, we weren't basically in a highly combative state. We were going and shoot and them kind of things. So, but we didn't think about facing an armed enemy, to be honest. Thought about the crowd and getting them, clearing them, and things like that. And when we arrived at the bottom of the square, the bottom of the hill, gunfire opened. And our warrant officer Mason fell off of the first armored car right on the road and right there and you could see that he died on the spot. He just collapsed and fall down like that. Rifle pitch one way and helmet pitch one way and things like that.
And the second person was the person who commanded the unit, Colonel Mayers. Colonel Mayers was shot in his groin. And there are 2 other soldiers died, 4 soldiers who died. Every soldier on the first armored personnel carrier was shot, except the driver. All the 6 were shot.
So we basically opened fire. The unit from the first armored car let go. I think they released a rocket-propelled grenade and to create a shock effect, and fire started.
The armored cars opened fire immediately upon arrival. They did not say one word of warning. They did not use a loudspeaker.
There was this loud explosion. An explosion that was deafening to my ear. And I don't know what happened, but I remember the room got very foggy, full of smoke.
But we were lying flat on the ground, and the trajectory of the weapon, fortunately, was upwards.
It was meant to kill all of us in the room. Everybody in the room. Yes, including Morris and Jack and anybody else who's so foolish as to go up there to say they're supporting them. Yes.
And when I opened my eyes, one of the young women who came up to the ops room while we were there, who worked at one of the companies in St. George's, I saw her body on the floor and it was opened up in almost divided in half. And I can remember the fatty tissue and the bloody thing just trickling out. And I thought to myself that we were all going to die. The next thing I remembered was I can feel this warm thing coming down all over me, and I looked up, and at the back of my head there was an air conditioned unit that used to be in that place, but apparently whatever came into the room took that out with it. And there seemed to be something like the remains of somebody dropping on me. And then there was continuous pounding and firing going on. I remember Morris vividly saying they have turned the guns on the people. Oh my God. The matron at our hospital who was in the room with us, and I now use that as my moment of smiling when I thank God for keeping me alive. She started to pray, and all the other women in the room were praying. They were saying the Lord's Prayer. They were saying all kinds of prayers. And I remember the matron saying, "You have said where 2 or 3 are gathered together, you shall be in their midst. Stop the hands of the slaughterers, Jesus." And after she would have said it the 3rd time, and the gunfiring didn't stop, she screamed, "Jesus, you're deaf or what? Stop the hands of the slaughterers." So I use that as my comic relief moment.
Every single member of the unit was standing on the outside of the armored car, which means that the BTR, even though they were going to restore order, right, they were not going there for war. Because if you were going there for war, each soldier will be buried inside the armored personnel carrier. Because I think it was felt that once the people see the armored cars coming, they will in fact submit. When the unit arrived at the foot of Fort Rupert, before they actually got to the top, the now armed civilians, right, immediately started to fire upon them. That is what happened. And soldiers were injured in the process, and some soldiers were killed instantly.
It wasn't an arms base. Yeah, so there were very little arms here. There was no big set of arms here, and they didn't come with much arms either, the demonstrators.
There were no defenders of the fort. There were no defense system and mechanism on the fort to defend Bishop and them.
So you weren't getting guns to arm the masses?
No, there was no guns to arm the masses. There were no guns to arm the masses there.
So these were guns
just 2-3 rifles just to make sure that he was personal protection.
The idea that Bishop was arming the crowd
is totally ludicrous. This is absolutely a lie.
Could you put that in a statement form?
Well, the idea that Bishop was arming is a lie. It never happened.
That's what his opponents.
You are hearing it from me for the first time. I am the man involved, and I could tell you that.
But let's fast forward. We are inside there, and what you heard, what I heard, is a single, what I would call it, rocket launcher propel. And then immediately after that, automatic fire.
And the armor car going up, and we following them. And as they reach to the thing, we hear boom, everybody scattered.
What the other side, for want of a different term, heard was one single shot, and they are saying that the shot that killed Connie Mears, and then the troops reacted by shooting.
Conrad Mears, who led, if you remember, armored personnel carrier unit, was shot, right? And as a result of that, the soldiers had to return fire. Because again, the soldiers were told before they leave that if fired upon, because you never can tell what could happen in a situation, if fired upon, you will have the right to return fire.
What I heard was I would call it a rocket launcher, and you could have seen the effect of it, the propeller window there, and it left one woman who I later learned to be Avis Ferguson with her buttocks literally blown off, gasping for breath inside the ops room. Gasping for breath inside the ops room.
And this led to a shootout. A battle ensued.
And it just started shooting off at the people. Fire blazing and people just falling down. Yeah. It was real terrible.
It was just noise, chaos. There were people praying, there were people shouting, and Bogman was telling them, keep quiet, keep quiet. If they hear us, they would know we hear. They out to liquidators, keep quiet so they will believe all of us dead. I mean, it was just bullet, 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 bloodshed. At one point, it became even worse because you could have recognized that they had advanced to the top and were now shooting from the top of the building. So this time, the trajectory of the bullets was downwards. And it was at this point that we become even more frightened inside here. Okay, you were seeing literally the walls, some place in the walls chipping up. It was miraculous that more people didn't die inside here. There was a young Belmont child, she eventually died. Convent uniform, came down and braced Morris and said, Morris, we demonstrate for you for these, I'll be free, I'll come down, and she was so energetic.
Gemma Belmont was talking to me and my husband.
The chair was sitting on his side. I volunteered it to her.
The door was shut and Gemma was next to me. When the bullets start coming in the wall,
Morris told us to get down.
Gemma was hit at the back of her head and fell down.
She got hit on that said chair.
And when I rolled on the ground, I saw the buttocks of Avis Ferguson. Everything, her intestine, everything was out on the ground.
The same girl who went up there with me, she only went because I was going. You know, myself and Mrs. Pratt were going. She absorbed it. She got hit by it. She got killed, and this is what, you know, prevented the rest of us from getting killed. I was hit in this hip, and I got a lot of cuts on my arm. The bullets grazed me, but I ended up with 2 bullets, which I still have.
And every time around this time of the year, including up last night, I keep picturing, what if I did not give her that chair to sit on, and I remain sitting on it?
I said I did. I mean, I said I'm close to death, and I was saying I wonder how it's going to feel. And you know, I was shot with that because there were shots sitting on either side. A girl who was right next to me got hit. She died afterwards. I had to carry her out. They had thrown her whole side of her head, and so everybody expected to die. Most of us were very calm, very, very, very calm. There was one woman who was praying aloud, but everybody else was very quiet, just doing the sensible thing, crawling towards a piece of furniture to sort of protect yourself and so on.
We held each other's hands, and were mumbling things to the effect that we will go together, we will die together. It was difficult to imagine how you're coming out of there alive. That must have continued for about, and I'm saying this now in retrospect because I wasn't counting time, about 20-30 minutes of, literal barrage of fire hitting that building. And there was a sort of miraculous lull in the shooting. And as if Morris was waiting and timing this lull, and he said, someone needs to go out and surrender.
I remember Porgy saying, look, I am going to go out there. I don't know what else to do. He said to Morris, comrade leader, I am going to just go out there and say something, and, you know, I don't know what's going to happen.
Bogman, my fellow lieutenant, who was always my sort of commander, said, Porgy, there would have to be 2 of us. There were 2 doors there. This one and that one. I was closer to the door there. There were sandbags in front there. There were people standing there. And he said he would take this door, which he was closer to, and I would take the next door. I happened to have come out before his own. By that time, I was half naked. Before coming out, I deliberately rubbed myself in the Belmont child blood because she wasn't thing, to make it look like if I was injured. Took off my shirt. First of all, took off my badger ranks. I was done. Took off my shirt.
He pushed his head through, and he said, Langain. I don't know who Langain is. That was just a name. He said, Langain. There are a lot of injured people in here. Hold your fire. And a voice came back. I don't know if it was the voice of Langain, but a voice came back saying, put your fucking guns, put your
fucking hands in the air.
And Porgy said, there are no guns in here. And the guy said the same thing. I said, put your fucking guns down and come and put your hands in the air. Porgy then looked back into the room and he says, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go out, and if anything happens, then that's it. And that young man put his hands up in the air and walked out of that door.
And came out and said, we surrender. While I'm coming out, you're hearing Morrison, we need to allow the women and the
children come first. Those were the last words I heard from him.
I was going back into the room to tell people, but by that time they must have heard because people, the nurses, the Aunt Peters, the National Hospital, my wife, they were just flooding to come out.
And quite naturally, some of the guys who were in the room at the time were picking up people who were injured. And I remember them picking up that young school child who died eventually from St. Joseph's Convent, the same one that came into the room hugging the Prime Minister then. And they were all exiting the room. I tried to get up, but I realized I was having difficulty standing. By then I had not realized I had 6 broken ribs. I had burns all down this side of my leg. I had shrapnel all over and a piece of a bullet still in one of my arms. I got up from the floor simply because I had an adrenaline rush. Something said to me, if you don't get up, you're going to die. So I got up from the floor. I put my hands up over my head. I had to lift this hand because from whatever went in here, it had my hand numb. So I had this hand up.
We went down the stairs. There were people lying on the ground. I saw Vincent Noel there. I passed over him.
There were bodies lying on the ground. One of them was a very dear friend of mine. Vincent Noel, that was his name. He was a trade unionist. I saw other people on the ground that I knew, but he was alive and he said to me, "Anne, help me." And it was the most painful moment I can ever remember because I could have done absolutely nothing. I stepped over him with my hands up and I said, "I have to get out here alive."
Subsequently, he was taken out by soldiers and finished off right behind the building in which they were holed up at first.
Jacqueline Kreff was the person holding on to me at the back. So you were walking out. Now when you go out into the veranda, there are some steps. And when I looked, there was a Land Rover burning at the bottom of the steps. So to get out, you have to jump. And I stood there and I jumped. And when I landed on the ground, I looked at Jackie and I said, "Jump." Her eyes were big and I said, "Jump." And she jumped.
I always credit to Aunt Peters. I'm not sure it was her. Somebody said, "Porgy, they will want you. You need to hide yourself." So there was this human stretcher coming down, about 6 people holding this child, sort of so. And I positioned myself beneath her. And I'm coming down so now. So her body is literally on my back. And I'm coming down and we're going down the hill. And we took that Belmont child into the hospital. And it was there that I seek refuge for the balance of the day.
And we were the last 2 people up there, about women, going down the fort to the exit. We cleared the first part. And as we were going down the second part, I heard a voice say, "Look, fucking Jacqueline Kreff, don't let her pass." And they took her from me, and I continued walking. I think one of the reasons why I wasn't held back is that, one, I had changed into nursing uniform, and I was so dirty that maybe I was not easily recognized. I walked into the school, into the yard, and I went straight into the hospital. And the nurses and the doctors took me, brought me up into the operating theater, washed me off properly, and brought me down to an office downstairs and hid me in the office. So I stayed in the office.
People were saying they're massacring people. That's all you were hearing. So we, who were, a few of us on the top, ran up to the top of the fort. And when we got to the top, there was nowhere else to go. People ran all over. I just jumped right over the fort. This was all there to be done. Because my whole emotions was about escape.
I just led my unit.
Alrighty, folks. There you have it. There you have it. I just felt I had to share that with you this morning. For some, I know it might have been pretty painful watching and listening. By the way, I see a note here on Facebook from Andrea, and she says, "Share the program, folks." I bet that brought back a lot of memories for those of you who were here. This morning I also received an email from a lady who was very much involved with the revolution. She also happened to be our former ambassador to the United Nations, Decima Williams. It's captioned 35 years later, and it says, "We remember not to forget. We are still inspired by the positive record of the revolution. We mourn and condemn the violent death of our comrades and our revolution. Long live the power of people. Long live peace. Long live justice. And long live love. Today and every day, may all of our relationships be healthy, and we commit to always go forward ever." Signed, Decima. Received that about 7:30 this morning. So, folks, there you have it. Hope it was an eye-opener for you. I am now going to take, by the way, a note came in a few minutes ago from the folks at the weather office. Check this out, A trough system is propagating across the southeastern Caribbean within an area of abundant moisture. Model guidance continues to indicate great potential for convective development and precipitation within the state of Grenada. Okay? Hence, the Met Office is maintaining its warning for a low chance of flooding and landslides for today. In addition, there is a warning for small craft operators, since waves are expected to be up to 8 feet, and wind gusts and poor visibility may be experienced during periods of moderate to heavy rain. That came in from the Met Office just after we started the program this morning. Back to Facebook here. There's a note from Sonia Griffith. She says, "Yes, it is painful. I was on the fort that day. I jumped and broke my hip." And she says she's listening from Brooklyn. Thanks for chiming in, Sonia. Folks, I'm going to take a little break here. Don't go away, because I've got something very inspirational for you after this.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this. Where you get that? At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in that food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products, distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
After a hurricane, exercise caution as you may still be in danger. Be alert and keep listening to the media for official instructions. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. Avoid water that is in contact with poles and lines. Report all emergencies and outages by calling GrenLec at 237. If your home or business sustains damage and you are safely able to get to the main switch, turn off the power immediately. Get a licensed electrician to check your home for damage before restoring the power. GrenLec will ensure that island-wide power is safely restored within the shortest possible time, with essential services restored first. For more information, please visit us at www.grenlec.com.
GrenLec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, approaching the end of today's little tete-a-tete. As always, we like to leave you with something inspirational. This is actually a quotation from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 38 to 42. You have heard it said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you, take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 to 42. My dear friends, let me say thanks to Chester, Andrea, Sonia. Thanks for joining us there on Facebook. And let's also take a look and see who's out there on the other platforms. I see that there are people out there in Germany, our usual friends out there in Germany, in Clinton, Maryland, North York, Ontario in Canada, Concord in Canada, St. John's in Antigua, Kingstown, and St. Vincent, folks. Nice of you to join us. Once again, I extend an invitation to join me on Sunday morning for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. Interesting program lined up, interesting. You heard the rundown earlier on if you joined us late and missed it. This is going to be up on Facebook in just a wee bit. So you may go there and check it out. I send you God's blessings, and by His grace, I shall see thee on Sunday.